This is the Nokia Lumia 1020, and this is the new Windows 8 flagship for 2013. And even though the design language has similar properties of other Nokia devices, it brings something new to the table as well, and that is the coveted 41 megapixel pure view Carl's Eye sensor that has been ported over from the 808. So is this phone any good besides the camera? Well, my name is Danny, and here is the full review of the Nokia Lumia 1020. So let's just jump straight into the hardware, since Nokia is known to make some of the best hardware on the market. This is the yellow version. It also comes in black and white and is a polycarbonate matte material. On the bottom, you will see the micro USB and the single speaker. And on the right hand side, you'll see the volume rocker, the power switch, and the two-stage shutter key. And on the top you will see a secondary microphone, a SIM card slot, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. And on the side you will see absolutely nothing, just smooth polycarbonate plastic. And this thing is a little chunky, and just like all the other Lumia devices, but it feels extremely good in the hand. And of course, this thing is running Windows Phone 8, the latest version. And on the front, you'll see a 1280 by 768 4.5-inch AMOLED screen, which is 334 pixels per inch. So not the sharpest screen out there, but hey, wake up. It's already sleeping through my review. But anyway, the touch sensitivity is nice, and Windows Phone 8 is about the same as you will get on any other device here. And this AMOLED screen has really good color reproduction, a little bit oversaturated, but really dark inky blacks, good viewing angles, and even though it's not 1080p, it looks pretty sharp. And this is the first device on Windows Phone 8 that has 2 GB of RAM. Now, what is so typical of this device is the 1.5 GHz dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor that was in the Lumia 920 even. So no new processor set here, but does include NFC, LTE, 32 gigs of onboard storage, but no SD card expansion, and a 2000 milliamp battery. But what's amazing about this camera, it has mechanical optical image stabilization, so when you shake it a little bit, you will hear it, so it's not a defect, but the OIS is amazing. So the hardware is bulky, but it's easy enough to go ahead and type with one hand. One hand operation was easy for me. I don't have the biggest hands, but it worked out perfect. So, you know, the Windows Phone keyboard is one of the best out there. The app selection is getting a little better. Still no Instagram here, but there's a lot of third-party stuff, and I'm sure it'll catch up eventually. But the performance was good, but when I was hitting the back button real hard, like this one, trying to close out the apps, you can see a little stutter there. So, I mean, but overall, the experience is very smooth. Windows Phone 8 devices are very snappy with minimal lag, and the minimalist UI definitely handles no problem on the 1020. Having that sophisticated imaging comes at a price though, with that big camera hump, and even though it's made out of aluminum and it feels good, it's just pretty bulky there in the back. And I've heard it's pretty prone to scratches there, and it's impossible to lay it flat on a surface. So if you're one of those that likes to type and use your phone on a flat surface, it does not lay flat, so definitely forget about that one. So included in hardware, let's get to call quality, and this is on the AT&T 4G LTE network, and I thought that the voices were very clear and distinct, and people said I sounded great on the other side, but I just wish that the earpiece was just a little bit louder. You have to position it just right on your ear for you to be able to hear it clearly, and I thought that the handling of this device was a little bit awkward from that big camera hump. You have to either go underneath the camera hump or just put your fingers over the camera hump. So ergonomically, this thing wasn't the most comfortable thing to make phone calls with. So something like the HTC One is definitely easier to hold in the hand while making phone calls, but this thing is on par with all the other flagships out there. The phone quality is good, so don't worry about that, but I just wish that the speaker piece was a little bit louder, and the speakerphone was also adequate. Not the clearest, but it works. Alright, I know you're here for this 41 megapixel camera, but let's jump into the software a little bit, because that's what makes the magic happen along with the sensor. Even though this is one of the most advanced mobile cameras on the market, they include a tutorial to make it a little bit easier for you to get some creative shots. And with low light photography, working with focus, So even a amateur can kind of pick this up and kind of learn how to get the best photos you can with this device. So the 1020 introduces the Nokia ProCam app, which you can just flick to the left and get a lot of manual controls. And it'll let you handle the white balance and shutter speed and focus, a lot of different things that other camera apps do not let you do. And if that's a little too complicated, that bar at the top lets you single them out so it won't be so cluttered. And this Nokia ProCam app is very intuitive, easy to use, and it'll let you get some of the best shots out there, especially with that manual focus. So I really like the ProCam app a lot. So what if you're one of those point and shooters? You don't want to mess with any of these manual controls. And that's very easy to do too. There's a 2-stage shutter key. You just hit it, opens the ProCam app, half press, focus. You hit it one more time and it just takes an automatic picture. And it does very well on auto pictures, and it takes really good photographs without you even messing around with it. And this is the lossless zoom feature that you see here, is that you can go ahead and zoom in after the fact and go ahead and reframe it, and you can save it the way you want to, so you don't have to sit there and worry about if I'm getting the best shot or not. You can just do this later on in the game. You can also zoom in and then take the shot and then go backwards, where you can actually get to the full frame shot by zooming back out again. Very intuitive, easy to use. Now Nokia also has these other programs like Cinemagraph and SmartCam that were introduced with the other Lumia lines, and they are present here as well on the 1020. So the SmartCam app allows you to take burst shots in succession and change them in different ways, like taking your best shot or getting an action shot, motion focus, change faces, or remove a photo bomb. So you have a pretty good amount of choices, stuff that you would see maybe on a Galaxy S4. And if you just hit that little arrow there, it will take you to more lenses like Cinemagraph and SmartCam. But I just wish all this stuff was integrated into one camera app. Even though it's congregated, you have to open these different apps to get different desired effects, and I just wish that everything was just integrated into one camera app. So the sample shots are incredible. It doesn't matter where you take this camera or how you shoot it, it just comes out extremely detailed. And the one thing that I said in my other reviews, you will just not believe this is coming from a mobile camera. The level of detail is incredible, even though that the colors can be a little bit oversaturated and they might not be as accurate, but the bokeh effect, and it's just incredible the way these pictures come out. And even if you take them in fluorescent lighting like I have here, or if you take it in the dark or low lighting, it just comes out phenomenal. And look at the low light pictures here in a restaurant, very dark, but man, do they come out good without a flash. I have extensively covered imaging in some of my other videos, so make sure you check those out. But 1080p video here is some of the best that I've seen on a mobile device. And it also has manual focus, which is great. It can get you some really good creative shots that you're not going to be able to get on some of the other phones as of this moment. And lots of detail, good color replication, good depth of field. I really like the 1080p video on the 1020. So I have a separate video on images and 1080p video, and also a comparison with the Galaxy S4 Zoom. So make sure you check those out in the links below. So let's talk about gaming a little bit on the 1020. And even though the Windows Phone 8 platform is not very extensive with gaming, some of the bigger games are starting to come to Windows Phone 8, like Modern Combat 4 here. And it looks good on the screen. But the one thing that I've noticed is that the frame rates are a little bit choppy on this. And even though it's definitely playable, I have an 8XT and it has a lower resolution screen, and it was able to give me better frame rates. And that makes sense because it's not pushing as many pixels, but I was just expecting it to play a little bit smoother. But definitely playable though, as evidenced by the video. But I just expected a little bit better. Even with 2 gigabytes of RAM, I thought it would help a little bit. And games like Nova 3 are also coming over, which is great. A little bit expensive though, but you can always try before you buy it. And it runs good, it looks great on this AMOLED screen, but if you look at the frame rates, it's still just a little bit choppy. But it runs a dual-core S4 chip that is pretty much a year old, so it's going to perform like anything that's been on the market for about a year. So performance is equal to something that has an S4 dual-core chip. So definitely playable here. and it looks pretty good, but I was expecting a little bit more. But I think things will improve once the new Windows update comes out and supports quad-core processors and newer GPUs. But definitely playable here. Just wanted to show you a little bit of gaming on the 1020. So this thing has a 2000 milliamp sealed in battery, and this is the same battery that's been on almost all the Lumias so far. And the battery's pretty good on this. Actually, I've been able to go an entire day without any issues, even on LTE. But if you take a lot of pictures with this thing, and especially use that xenon flash, then it will tear your battery up. But that's just known. I mean, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. And if you use the camera a lot, or if you do a lot of data streaming on this, like if you ever watch YouTube video over LTE, that camera hump on the back, it gets pretty warm. Now, it never gets hot to the point where it's going to burn you or anything, but you can definitely tell it's warm. So if you use the camera a bunch, you're definitely going to have shortened battery life. And if you put your screen on auto or you put on medium, you're definitely going to be able to make it through an entire day. I have no problem getting at least 10 hours of battery life on this thing. So I would not worry about battery life, even though it's a small battery. If you just use it normal day to day and just kind of use it as medium use, you will definitely make it through an entire day. Heavy use with camera though, you're probably not going to make it through an entire day. The 1020 does ship with the Amber update, so you get double tap to wake, and you also get things like color profile and other goodies that came with the Amber update. So what do I think about the 1020? Is it the best phone out there? Probably not. But is it the best Windows phone out there? Definitely. This is the best Windows phone ever created. And if you're about Windows Phone, this is your only choice. This is the best that it gets. And it is the best mobile camera out on the market. It blows the iPhone 5 out of the water, Galaxy S4, everything. It's got a decent screen, it's got good performance, LTE, decent battery life. I mean, this is a pretty good device, and it's a good choice for anybody that's looking for a new device right now. And a lot of people get mad at me when I say that I think that the Lumia series could be great with Android, because it could be. And it's not because I want them to stop making Windows Phone devices, because they are great devices, but the consumer wins when they put Android on one of these devices, because the hardware is incredible and the app selection is just not as great as it could be. And with an ecosystem like Android, I think it could really benefit from this incredible, amazing hardware and camera. But that ran aside, and probably people getting angry in the comments, Nokia is going in the right direction. They are making incredible devices, and I just wish that maybe they would have waited a little, because the new update will bring things like quad-core processors, 1080p screens, and other things that Windows Phone needs, and definitely some software improvements like better notification systems and other things. But, you know, this is a great device for right now. It's available now. The 41 megapixel sensor is just the best that's on the market. And I would recommend this if you want a Windows Phone device. Definitely try it out in your store and see how it feels in the hand, but I would definitely recommend it. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss another video. And thank you for watching, and thank you for the support. Make sure you watch all my other coverage on the Lumia 1020, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh yeah, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @SuperScientific.